read an advice from an elderly gentleman. He and his wife had been married for decades. And he said, we have sometimes gone to bed angry, but I always made sure my hand was upon her. So she knew that even though the emotions were tense, I'm still here and I'm not going anywhere.
Hello, friends. This is Susan Shull, your host for the Clean Heart Club podcast. I'm a farm wife, mom, Grammy, holy yoga teacher, and Christian life coach. Clean Heart Club is the place for you if you want to learn to live in abundance and walk in freedom to be 100% your true self. I can't wait to share with you guided meditations and sacred story interviews with some of my favorite people. Wherever you are on your path, I'm excited to join hands as we allow our loving Heavenly Father to clean up our hearts and we start living the adventure of our lives with joy and gratitude. This is going to be fun. Hello, everybody. It's so good to see you again. I hope that you took a chance to listen to the last episode of Clean Heart Club and you were blessed by my conversation with CJ, and I know you're going to be blessed by this one too. I am so amazed that I get to know the most interesting people, and I know you're going to love my guests today. So let's give a welcome to Jeff and Michelle Michael. They are, well, would you consider yourself co-pastors? What? Anyway, I'll let them tell you about themselves. Take it away, kids.
Her line that she has used for years is that she married me and I'm a pastor. So does she minister? Yeah, but we're not co. We have separate ministries, but she's my wife. I'm her husband.
And I wanted to have you guys on here because in February, of course, Valentine's Day. And I thought it would be so helpful maybe to our listeners to talk about love and marriage from people who have been in it for the long haul. How long have you guys been married?
We got married in December of 89.
This will be 37
You're better
years.
than 37.
So
I thought the
37
question would
years.
come up, so I thought that ahead.
Well, you haven't been married quite as long as Brad and I. We're going to celebrate our 50th in August, which seems impossible.
Awesome.
But we both know that you don't stay married for that many years without learning a lot of lessons along the way and being both delighted and disappointed. Michelle, would you tell us a little bit about your family?
Whatever she says, I agree. You just go.
We were married in December of 1989. We were both students at St. Louis Christian College in our junior year of college. And by the time we graduated the following May, we were expecting our first baby. Our oldest son, Anthony, was born in 1991, and 3 more babies followed quickly. 91, 93, 95, and 96. 3 boys and a girl. Beautiful kids. We're so richly blessed. They're all very successful adults doing well. And then when did we adopt the boys? I mean, I know when we adopted them, but I think Jansen was an 8th grader. We had talked about adoption and decided that we were quickly approaching the age where it would be too late. And so we adopted 2 sons from Taiwan. Isaiah is 17 and Malachi is 15. They're both sophomores at Effingham High School here, and just we're richly blessed by them. So we have 6 children altogether, and our family's just beautiful. They're all rich blessings from God. And we have 4 grandchildren, so that is a fascinating, amazing phase of life. And
2 daughters-in-law and a son-in-law.
Yeah, we're just richly blessed.
So your family is growing. So how long have you been in ministry?
My first church was a weekend ministry while we were in college, the fall of 1989. Same year we got married, so going on 37 years.
So did you, when you went to Bible college, of course, did you go with the intent of being a pastor?
Yeah.
When I met him at Oil Belt Camp, it was the summer before our junior year in high school when we started dating, and he knew he was going to be a preacher then. So
So you
he's
knew going
definitely
into
called by
it that,
God.
yeah, that you were going to be a
Yes.
pastor's wife. Yeah. What's been
Yeah.
the biggest blessing of that?
Oh, it's been full of blessings. We've been blessed to be in one church for the bulk of his ministry. So that has been a huge blessing. I prayed when I knew I was going to be a preacher's wife, and I'm from Sisney originally. And we had pastors every 3, 4, 5 years. And I just prayed that we would have the opportunity to raise our children in one place and not move them every 4 to 5 years. And Christ Church has allowed us to do that. This is an incredible place to be. It's been an incredible
We've been here
place
30
to
years.
minister. So we got to raise our children in one school district. They've lived in, I guess, 3 houses, but that has been a huge blessing.
That doesn't
And
always
I
happen,
forgot your original question.
does it?
No, it does not always happen.
Mhm.
And God granted that blessing. So, and I don't
How about
remember
you,
your
Jeff?
original question.
I think I asked, what's been the biggest blessing being married? I
Ministry.
think I asked,
Well,
yeah, well, I can't remember.
So there's a
Go
question
ahead.
to her about the blessings of ministry. I think being able to stay put for 30 plus years and watch our kids and our, not just our kids, but everybody else's as well, grow up and develop long-term relationships with those people has been a blessing. We haven't just moved through their life, and we've been a part of life. And that's been a real rewarding. Sometimes makes it tough because when something difficult happens with someone, you've known them for sometimes all of their life, but the reward is worth the risk there.
So good. So I'm sure you've married a cajillion people in that many years.
I did 20 weddings one year.
Oh my goodness. So if you were giving advice to newlyweds today, and this is for both either of you, what would be your advice?
Well, marriage is God's plan for humanity, for men and women. I mean, we see that in Genesis, the way we're created, complementary to each other. Genesis chapter 2, Adam awakes and says, yeah, that's the one. And he knows that God created Eve for him. So I always tell couples, and usually in the wedding ceremony, that this is God's idea. Marriage is God's idea. And if he's the center of it, the two of you will be ever drawn closer to each other if you're both pursuing him. And so get involved in a church, get involved in a group of people, if possible, that are your age, seeking, going through the phases of life together. Find somebody that's a little further along in the relationship with each other that's also pursuing God, and just continue to learn and grow. But if you're not pursuing God, it's hard in this world to have a marriage that's all it's intended to be. Let's say that.
Do you want to add anything, Michelle?
I think we're blessed, both of us, to come from parents who were married only to each other. And my prayer also for my children is that their spouses come from intact families. And not that God can't work through the muck and mire of a divorce and separation and all those things. But I think it just lends an extra strength when I know my parents were committed to marriage and valued it, and there was no easy out. There was only working through the issues that came to the table. So that example was set for me, and we've tried to set that example for our children to carry on that. It's too easy nowadays to get out of it. And
It's just not an option.
It's just not an option. And so, and part of that is our Christ-centered faith. I know that the value of marriage from a faith perspective, but also just from a societal perspective, we want to pass that value of marriage on because it's becoming less and less and less in our society. And so I want to be part of the movement that clings to that value of marriage. Kind of makes you even more determined,
Mhm.
apart from
Okay.
the whole
Yeah.
Jesus at the center.
Yeah. So I'm assuming in your years of being married, you've had disagreements, I would guess. How do you know? How do you handle conflict?
He's a lot easier to get along with than I am. I should probably lay that out. I, I won't say don't ever go to bed mad, because the reality is sometimes you do go to bed mad, right? I mean, sometimes you do. And we handle conflict differently. I am get it out on the table, talk about it, you know, get it out. And he is a little more avoidant. He doesn't like conflict. I don't like it, but I'll deal with it. Fortunately, we've never had anything huge, you know, little marital, you left the cap off the toothpaste kind of thing. Forgiveness. I mean, you gotta just be forgiving.
Here's a real simple illustration. I heard it someone shared that I think is a powerful thought. The idea that you don't go to bed angry. That's a biblical thing from Ephesians and Paul. Don't let the sun set while you're still angry. Don't give the devil a foothold. The practical application of that is sometimes difficult. Your emotions are sometimes hard to squelch. But I read an advice from an elderly gentleman. He and his wife had been married for decades, and he said, we have sometimes gone to bed angry, but I always made sure my hand was upon her. So she knew that even though the emotions were tense, I'm still here and I'm not going anywhere.
I love
That's just
that.
a very simple thing that you could just so that in the midst of the conflict's not greater than the commitment to the relationship.
Oh my goodness, that's a good statement. The conflict isn't greater than the commitment.
Yeah. And I have been blessed as a wife. He's easy to be married to.
Dang near perfect.
He reminds me occasionally that he's near perfect. And I will say he's dang near perfect. He is the most Jesus-like human. And I've lived with him for 37 years, so it's not like I don't know him.
She is biased.
He's the most Jesus-like person that I know.
Oh.
For real.
So what's one of the things that you love most about the other one?
So what you just experienced there is her application of a principle that if you're going to be negative about someone, you do it privately. If you're going to confront an issue, it's private. It's not a public thing. So if we do have a conflict, you won't read about it on Facebook, right? It won't be shared with anybody else. And I like that. There's this intimacy of the relationship that she maintains publicly. I sometimes embarrassing the flowery phrase, like the most Jesus-like person she's ever met. I mean, really, but
Really,
that's
Until she meets
that's a
it.
part of guarding. That's guarding the relationship and exemplifying that you treasure someone's feelings a lot, and she does that well.
I think that one of the things I value about him the most is his integrity and how important integrity is to him. He expects it, but he delivers it. So in any capacity he's ever been in, he was on the school board for years. He was president of the school board, just different things in the community. He's coached basketball, been involved with different kids activities, and he just always values integrity, delivers integrity, and expects it.
So how has that developed in you, Jeff?
I suppose that was a trait that was really pushed when I was a child. I'm supposing, I don't know. It's just always been something that I value. I don't know where it came from. It's a good question.
Yeah.
Your parents.
Because it's not
Probably.
everywhere. Not everybody has that.
Yeah.
As believers, we
I know that
should, but
I know that if I would have ever lied to my parents, that'd have got me in a whole lot more trouble than just whatever it is that I did. It was a highly valued trait,
so
just
were
to
you
be
both
honest.
raised in the church?
Yes.
Yeah.
When did you come to the Lord?
I don't remember ever not believing. I was baptized in the summer between my freshman and sophomore year, maybe my 8th grade and freshman year. Oil Belt was a big part of my growing up and influence, and the minister at the time, I think he was faculty, and I had been baptized when I was 8 or 9, and not because everybody else was doing it. I genuinely believed, but I think my understanding was just fuller. And I don't think it hurts you to be baptized twice. So I was baptized again as a teenager, young teen. So I don't remember ever not believing. My mom and dad always took us to church. And if they didn't, I went with my grandma. Faith has just always been, and I've never experienced doubts that a lot of kids go through.
Wow.
Just have always been a believer.
So do you feel like
Me too.
your faith became more your own when you were baptized the second time, or did you ever experience that?
I don't know that it never wasn't my own. It's just as we grow in faith, it becomes fuller and richer and deeper. And it just penetrates just continually deeper.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever feel like it wasn't my own.
I was baptized twice too. The first time I was 12, and the second time I was 31, and Brad baptized me. I just felt like I wanted to surrender on a different level, and
Right.
I don't
Right.
regret it. I'm so glad. I'm glad. I'm thankful for both of them.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So
I'm thankful for both of mine.
yeah, I'm thinking if there's somebody that's listening who feels unsure or just needs some reassurance, a lot of us have been baptized more
again.
than once.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It sure won't hurt you.
What about you, Jeff?
But I agree with what Michelle said. I don't know that I recall ever not believing or having faith. You know, when I grew up, my whole family, extended family, moms, siblings, cousins, grandmother, we all went to the same church, kind of a small country church. We spent Sunday afternoons together. It was the center of our social life. We went on Sunday night. We went on Wednesday night. It was just, it wasn't a part of life. It was life. It was incorporated into all of life. So I don't, and I can't tell you when there was no blinding light that this is the moment that it's personal. It was just always present.
Do you think that's God's gift to you? Because a lot of people don't, when I ask that question, that's not their answer.
Absolutely, it is, because yeah, and we kind of do this by glorifying testimonies that are colorful, and God is a great redeemer, and it's inspiring to listen to transformative experiences in people's lives, and you know all that. But those experiences bring scars, and there's a lot of pain in walking through some of the things that people are redeemed from, and I feel blessed because I didn't experience any of that. And I feel just protected, I suppose, by that as well. And so, yeah, that's an incredible blessing. It's not as exciting sometimes for people to hear, but it's what God wants to do with everybody, really. He wants to protect us.
It's good. So do you guys have spiritual practices that you do together as a couple, separately? How's your individual walk of faith?
Has been through the years, but we've individually, you know, she's really been strong promoting and leading a lot of people through reading the Bible through in a year. I've done that in the past and struggle to complete that task on an I'm doing it again this year to trying and so far I'm up to date. It very quickly for me can disintegrate into a checklist, and I don't like that. I told her the other day I can spend a whole day studying one word, or a sentence or a phrase or a text. Because I have to study all the time, probably 20 hours a week. And so that has been my refreshment, my development spiritually. But because of that, that's very individualized, and it hasn't always been a strength in the dynamic of family, if that makes sense. So she's better at that than I am.
You want to share what you do, Michelle?
Well, I do the Bible recap. This is my 5th year, and you introduced me to that. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
This is my 5th year going through it.
We have 500 people going through it. By the way.
There are about 500 people this year. Awesome, isn't it?
Wow.
So
isn't that amazing?
One of the things I love about it is Tara Lee's little recap that it's concise, but it's deep, but it's always speaks to the layman, whether you're a Bible scholar or new to the Bible going through it the first time. And I have always appreciated that teaching. And every year I think, oh, I'll find something different to do. I've done this one. Well, the 3rd year I started thinking that. But I just come back to it because I glean every year so much. And I appreciate the little extra things, the extra videos that are available and all of those things. So I just really appreciate the Bible recap. I can't say enough positive for it.
We'll put a link in.
She does perpetual podcast, audio, everything all day long.
Sermons.
And so it's perpetual supplementation for her.
And how is that affecting you, Michelle?
I could get lost in Netflix, or I'm a serial episode person. So I really try to make a conscious effort to do more faith-based things, because that is one of my weaknesses. I love true crime. That's one of my favorite genres of podcasts.
That's
So
funny.
I the last couple of years have been making a concentrated effort to put more into faith-based things than, I don't know, secular. I don't know if I guess that's a good word for it. Things that draw me,
entertainment.
Things that are draw me closer and grow me spiritually than rot my brain. So
if somebody somebody told me the phrase
that I have.
Yeah. Am I going to be smarter when I'm done with this, or dumber? And too many times I choose the dumber option. So who do you like to listen to? What are your favorites?
I love Alistair Begg. I listen to, what's the radio station out of Ramsey? 88.3, 88.9.
JLY.
WJLY. And that's where I first started hearing Alistair Begg. And then we have a church membership to
Right Now Media.
Right Now Media. And there's so much good on Right Now Media.
We have that too, and I forget about it.
It's so good.
What are you listening to on that? Or watching?
Right now, I am listening to, who just spoke at the...
Michael DeFazio.
Michael DeFazio has a series on prayer. So I'm listening
that would be
through
good. Because he spoke at the conference at your church that I got to come to. Yes. And I think he talked about, not Revelation, the other guy talked about Revelation. But I really liked his teaching style.
Hey, she hasn't mentioned this, but she listens to the Bible in about 4 different versions, not versions, but presentation styles daily as well.
Oh, wow.
So like the Experience Bible.
The Bible Experience. Are you familiar with that?
Would that have come out like a few years ago? I think I bought that on DVD and I never listened to it. But
it's so good. It's It's verbatim, New International Version, verbatim, dramatized. So you have all these voice actors with different characters. And if they're talking about being in right now we're listening to Joseph and being in Egypt. And so there are all these background noises like you're.
Wow. Is that on the YouVersion Bible app?
It's in various places. You can find all 66 books are on YouTube. So if you just search YouTube, the Bible Experience Genesis, it'll come up.
Okay.
It is on, gosh, I can't think. Amazon. What do I listen to on Amazon? Not Spotify. Let me look just a second.
Okay.
What's the thing you have a subscription to?
I know. Audible. It's on Audible.
Okay.
And it's really nice on Audible because it's divided by chapter. On YouTube, it is not. So you might, and that is especially nice. Yes. Especially nice when going through the Bible recap, because when you start jumping around to go chronologically, you jump back and forth. So on Audible, it's much easier to do it because it's chapter by chapter. It's the Bible Experience, and it is just excellent. I listen to that. Some days I get lazy and listen instead of read. I'm trying to do both this year every single day, but when the weather warms up and we can get outside, that's when I have to really work to stay.
Yeah. I started last year doing the Bible recap again, and I was going to listen and read at the same time, but I got so frustrated because I could read faster than the audio.
Yes.
And then I found about, this was the year before, I think. I didn't finish it because I realized, you know what, Susan, you're not doing this because you actually want to read through the Bible. You're doing it because you think you should do it. What I really wanted to do was spend a lot of time in one place. So I think it's good for people to know there's so many ways to do it right.
Yeah.
And no way is wrong.
Except not reading, not being in the Word at all.
Except not reading.
Yeah.
Not being in the Word.
Yeah. What's God teaching you individually these days? How's He knocking your socks off? Sorry, I didn't tell you. These are all questions. None of them were on the sheet.
No, that's okay. God knocks my socks off all the time. I'm just perpetually amazed by, I think the stories of people's faith and their faith demonstrated. Our niece right now is going through, her husband was diagnosed with hydrocephalus. It's a congenital defect that didn't get bad until like 6 years ago. So he just had his, I know. So he just had his 10th brain surgery. His shunts, they've had more trouble with shunts, malfunctioning and whatnot. And they're young, 4 young children. Just how they walk their faith through the nitty-gritty, nasty parts of life is just amazing. And they just exhibit the most profound, deep faith. And it's a testimony to me. I mean, she's my niece, and I've known her. Well, I was in the delivery room when she was born. Just to see, and it's a generational faith for her, but it's her own. And I believe with her, it always has been. And just to see the profound story being written in them, and to get to watch, not just them, but there's another young girl in our church who walked through breast cancer and was told because of chemo and all the things that she would never have another baby. And they've got a little 5-month-old, I think she's 5 months old, who was never supposed to be here. And to watch the depth of her faith and the testimony that is to everyone around her and to our community and to our church. And I get to watch that. I get to live that and see it. I think just, it's so refreshing in this crazy time that we're living in, to see young people walking a deep faith, living a deep faith. So
That kind of sounds like what I'm
feeds my
hearing
soul.
is happening kind of all over the place. The younger people coming to the Lord and revival happening. So what about you, Jeff?
The yeah, the thing that I had time. Let's see what she went first. I had time to think. Um, Next, this coming June, actually, 6 months, 5 months from now, I'll be officially transitioning from being the senior minister to a teaching minister. Um, and one of the guys on staff is going to become a senior guy. And I'm at a position in life personally where there's just so much joy in seeing others do well and succeed and minister. There was a couple that we went to visit this morning that just tragically last night lost their 21-year-old daughter. And so, as the preacher, we go, as my wife, we went together, and we were not even close to the first people to be there this morning from the church. There had been eldership there. There had been friends there. There had been life group leaders, multiple life group leaders, life group members that were all present, and they're kind of newish here. Their comment was the church has been amazing, and for me, that's so rewarding,
So you didn't
to
send out a
see.
text message and say, people.
No,
Mm-mm.
no, I didn't even get one. Well, I did from a friend of theirs, but to see the church be the church, and minister to each other, we've reached a point, just sheer reality of numbers. Well, like, it's not possible. If people were depending upon a professional clergy to do the ministry, it's not possible on scale. But that's not the way it's supposed to be anyway. We all have gifts to serve and to minister to each other. And to see that happen at this point is just really, really gratifying.
That's wonderful. So I know you guys, your church has grown leaps and bounds. How has that transition grown you personally? Either of you?
This church has been a joy and a blessing. I would come here if I wasn't the preacher's wife. I would.
It'd be a problem if I was somewhere else.
Well, it would be a problem, but I'm still kind of, they have allowed me, when we came in 1994,
Bye.
1995, what were we running, 150-ish? There were no expectations on me as the preacher's wife to sing and play the piano. And I came from a little church, and not every preacher's wife did, but a lot of the preacher's wives had expectations, and there were no expectations on me. I was a young mom with three. Jansen was born while we were
Just starting.
in Christ. Yeah, just starting at Christ Church. There were no expectations on me. I got to just be a mom, and I didn't have to, I didn't feel like there were any roles that I was expected to fill here. So that has been a blessing. I know small churches sometimes rely on the preacher's wife more than they should. You hire the preacher, not the preacher and his wife. So, and not that it's a bad thing for the preacher's wife to serve and all of those things. I'm not saying that. I'm saying sometimes it's expected, whether she wants to or not. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And
so
that was never, I never felt that pressure. And I have
that's a big deal.
waxed and waned into in and out of various roles here. So it's been good. The growth has been steady. I think the Bible teaching here is so solid. All of our preaching ministers are just solid Bible scholars. They dig in deep. They're great at exegesis. They're great at application, all the things. And I think as a culture, there's so much need for that and so much hunger for it. They preach the Bible, and I think they're meeting a need in the community, a felt need, and fulfilling it.
That's great.
My first ministry, we were college students that start on the weekends, and come back and forth, couple-hour drive. I was about 6 months into that first position when another church down the road 5 miles, ask if we could do that at the same time. And so we worked out a schedule so that I preached at one, we'd jump in the car and run down the road, and it's kind of like going to second service and preach the same sermon again. When we graduated from college, we moved into the community and we did ministry in both congregations at the same time, in the same way, with the same gifts and abilities, and blah, blah, blah. In the course of almost 6 years, that one of the churches was cut to about a third of its original size, and the other church tripled in size. And it wasn't people going from one to the other.
Isn't that
It was
fascinating?
It's fascinating.
so I learned a valuable lesson. Like the preacher gets too much credit when things go good, or takes too much credit sometimes, and too much blame when it goes bad. And so that was a valuable lesson, because I think we all have to battle pride. It's one of the big areas that Satan will attack us, each one. And I could have been prideful if I'd have just came here in this wonderful environment with supportive people, and the church had prospered and done well like it has. I might have thought that was my credit, but I've already blew up a church, that that didn't go well. And so I knew that it wasn't me, right? We're just called to be faithful, faithful to our spouse, faithful to our commitments, and faithful to use the gifts that God's given us. And what he does with that is up to him. Now, to say I always lived in that would be not always correct. It'd be a lie sometimes. But to get to this point in life where, yeah, that's it. That's where I'm at. Right? God gets the credit for whatever good happens. And he's the one that we serve. So we just try to be faithful
And that's
and let
the
him bless.
case for whatever ministry we're in, right? You don't have to be the pastor or the pastor's wife for that to be true of you. So I
Just be
hope that
faithful to
somebody
what God has called
receives
you to
that.
do where you're at.
Mhm.
Yeah. He honors faithfulness.
Very much so.
And nothing we do is that impressive to him anyway. So faithfulness is what he's after.
Um,
I mean, do you really think he cares if the church has? He cares, but he's not impressed by, well, you got 100 people, you got 500 people, you got 1,000 people, you make $50,000, you make $1 million. He doesn't. That's not impressive to the God who created all things by the speaking of his word. Right. So just be faithful.
If you had the opportunity to speak to the graduating class of whatever university about back to marriage, about why they should get married and not just live together, why does it matter?
The statistics say that 85% of couples who began their journey living together don't remain together in marriage. So statistically, you're setting the odds against yourself from the beginning. Secondly, I would say that you're undermining your own personal trustworthiness. Because if you enter a relationship in a way that is unfaithful to even to each other, breaking personal commitments and vows, and doing things outside of the will of God, assuming that they have that commitment, what's to say you won't do that again? So you're undermining your own integrity by having your cake and eating it too, before you've made that commitment.
Well, you're taking something you have no right to. God set up the boundaries of marriage, the covenant of marriage. And when you live out, you don't have a right to live outside of that. You're putting your own desire and will ahead of the establishment that God made.
I get all the arguments, It's affordability, it's convenience, it's all of those things. And in a pure human logical sense, some of that may make sense. Um, but marriage is God's idea. And so it's best done his way. And if
Yes.
you want to live in the fullness of his blessing, just you do it his way and allow him to bless that. Sometimes that isn't logical, and it does mean self-denial. Um, but once again, if we're faithful, he'll bless us. And the blessing is worth the wait.
And
I have
so often okay, go ahead. Go
no,
ahead.
no, no. You go ahead.
So often we know something is wrong, we do it anyway, and then we're shocked with the consequence. So you can apply that to little daily things in life. I'm shocked I gained 5 pounds, but I ate a chocolate sheet cake, So you can't be shocked at the consequence of the action when you know the action is wrong. You can't be shocked at a speeding ticket when you're driving 85 in a 55. There are consequences to your actions. So the consequence of living out of God's will in marriage is steep. And you can't be shocked at the turmoil and the drama and the angst that it brings living outside of God's will.
In whatever area.
But we're human and we're shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah, in whatever area, particularly marriage. Yes.
Yes. So I want to ask you 2 more questions. And wow, that time went fast, as it always does. What is sweeter about being in love at this age? How has your love grown sweeter as you've aged? And then the second question is what sounds fun on a Friday night. But let's do the love question first.
Oh, I love
Girl, sweeter.
watching him be a grandpa. I love it. He delights in our grandchildren and will do the silliest things for them. And he's a great dad. He was a great dad to our kids when they were little. He was a fun dad. But watching him be a grandpa is just amazing. He's a very good grandpa.
That's sweet.
The older boys, particularly at this point, and I do a lot of things together in association with some sort of hunting experience. And we go a lot of places. And in 2016, I believe it was, they were all adult men at that point, in their 20s. And we went to Wyoming. And I have a picture that's one of my favorite pictures from hunting with them. We're walking up through a pass in the mountains, and I'm in back of the line. And we're all walking a path, and I'm following the 3 of them. And I'm there partly because I'm a lot harder for me to walk up a mountain than it is for them. But I'm able to enjoy that perspective and to watch them and to enjoy, that's the fruit of our relationship. And to be able to share experiences with them, to do things together with them. Our daughter was a pretty good basketball player. To be able to go and help her practice, to share those times together with them. That's a blessing of the fruit of love, of time together and a family intact. So yeah, that's the thing that's so rich now, to be able to enjoy those blessings. And then the grandkids, of course, they're awesome.
So what sounds like fun on Friday night?
We're old.
But we still have 2 boys at home.
We still have 2 boys at home. Oh, basketball game. I enjoy watching basketball. Going to a basketball game. I don't know.
Can I just say, like, an early supper and doing nothing?
We're not real
I get
exciting
that.
people.
There's
Just
no
being
judgment.
home and no stress. Just being able to relax.
Sometimes it's nice to do nothing. Right?
Sometimes it's nice to do nothing.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Well, thank you so much for joining us and sharing a little bit of your wisdom and giving us a little peek into your life and your hearts. And I would love for you to come back sometime and talk about your travels to Israel and Paul's missionary route and all that stuff, because I'm fascinated with that too. But that's it for today. So, Michelle, would you pray for our listeners?
I will. God, we just thank you for Susan, and we thank you for this outreach that she has, these podcasts that she does, and the questions that she asks to dig a little deeper and to draw listeners closer to you. And I pray that this podcast and Jeff and I and our conversation with Susan, that there just would be a nugget here and there that listeners would hear and just be able to apply to their lives. And I pray, Father, that each listener is drawn closer to you daily through these podcasts. And I pray that relationships are strengthened and that Jeff and I reflect the value of marriage, the value of putting you at the center of our marriage and staying focused on you. And I just thank you for the opportunity to share with Susan. I thank you for her thoughtfulness in asking us. And I thank you for your son, Jesus, most of all, that we can live lives that you've called us to in ministry. We love you, and we just ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll see you next. Yes, we'll see you next time, listeners. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Clean Heart Club podcast. I hope that you were blessed and learned some things that will help you on your journey. Let's remember this truth from Psalm 28:7. The Lord is my strength and shield. I trust him with all my heart. He helps me, and my heart is filled with joy. I burst out in songs of thanksgiving. Did you know I wrote a course for you? It's called the Clean Heart Club and contains 10 video teachings about some of my favorite life coaching concepts, which are so helpful. You're also invited to come join the fun in the Clean Heart Club group on Facebook and sign up to receive my weekly newsletter of encouragement. Let's be friends. See you next time.